Good morning, students. Welcome back to our economics second year supplementary classes. Here we were discussing the important questions from exam point of view. As in the previous videos, we have done with our previous chapters till agriculture sector. If anyone missed it out, just you can check out the previous videos here. So where we are discussing only the important questions, especially from exam point of view. Okay. So today, as I've completed with agriculture sector, LAQs, SAQs and VSAQs, today I'm going to start with a new chapter, that is industrial sector. Chapter 6, as I told you earlier, chapter 5 and chapter 6 has more weightage from exam point of view. You will get 1 LAQ, 2 SAQs and 2 or 3 VSAQs you will get from these chapters. Okay. So here, today I'm going to start with a new chapter, that is industrial sector. It is chapter 6, industrial sector. So in this, you will have LAQ, SAQ and VSAQs. Okay. So the questions we will prepare in this are Industrial Policy Resolutions 1991. Then again, we have the small scale industries, role and problem of small scale industries. These are the LAQs, and SAQs we are having from this chapter, that is causes for industrial backwardness, measures for development of the small scale industries. So all these questions we are going to discuss in this chapter. So first LAQ I am going to discuss, that is Industrial Policy Resolution. Industrial Policy Resolution 1991. 1991 Industrial Policy Resolution, it is very, very important for your 10 marks. Okay, in previous exam also they have given this question. Okay, so this Industrial Policy Resolution 1991. In the year 91, Government of India has introduced the new industrial policy with an objective to develop the industrial sector, to strengthen the industrial sector in the global market. With that objective, they have started. First, let us see what are the objectives of Industrial Policy Resolution. What are the objectives of this Industrial Policy 1991? First policy is build on gains already made. Build on gains already made. Means whatever our strength as an Indian economy, whatever the Indian industries are strong, we should take advantage of that strong industries. Also here, correct the distortions or the weakness that might have kept in. So to correct the distortions or weakness which are there in our industrial sector. Okay, so we have to look after what are our weaknesses, what are the distortions that are, what are disturbing the industrial sector from doing more and more production, and also create gainful employment in the maintaining a sustaining growth in productivity and gainful employment. Okay, so here the next objective is maintain sustained growth in production and creating gainful employment. Means we have to maintain the growth in our production, continuous increase should be there in our production, as well as our industrial sector should maintain the growth in creating gainful employment, which will help us to remove the problem of poverty, unemployment in the country and attain international competitiveness. And to attain international competitiveness. So these are the objectives of 1999 policy. See, in 1991, Government of India has introduced a new policy reform to develop the industrial sector with an objective of build on gains which are already made. Already whatever the gains we have made, we have to stand on by that. Correct the distortions or weaknesses in the industrial sector. In industrial sector, whatever the disturbances or whatever the problems they are facing, that has to be corrected. Maintain sustained growth in production and gainful employment to maintain the growth in our production, industrial production, as well as creating gainful employment in the country, and to attain international competitiveness. Means to Indian industry should be standing in the world competitiveness with all the world economy. With means our quality product should be increased in the industrial production. With these objectives, 1991 policy was introduced in our country. Now, let us see what are the features of this 1991 policy. So, if you see the features of 1991 policy, what our government has done? First one, abolition of industrial licensing. Abolition of industrial licensing. Abolition of industrial licensing, that means to liberalize the economy. The new industrial policy abolished all industrial licensing, though the level of investments are there and all. Now there are only 6 industries for which license is compulsory. So here we can say abolition of industrial licensing. In India, after 91 policy, only 6 industries require license. So this concept is also called as liberalization. So what are the 6 industries that require license here? Alcohol, cigarettes, hazardous chemicals, drugs and pharmaceuticals, electronics, aerospace and defense equipment. So what they have done in 91 policy, they have removed the completely the license policy for the industries, and only 6 industries require license, which are related to alcohol, cigarettes, industrial explosives, defense equipment. Only these require license. Other industries need not have license. So this abolition of industrial licensing, we also call it as liberalization, where freedom is given to the private sectors without any government rules and restrictions. Okay, so that is one feature of 91 policy. Another feature of 91 policy is public sector role diluted. Public sector role diluted. Basically, 17 industries were reserved for public sector. Means 17 industries where they come under the control or ownership of the government. Now they have been diluted. They have been diluted to 3 major industries. You can see 17 industries which are reserved for public sector in 1956. In 1956, now reduced to 3. Means 17 industries were there under the control of government. Now they have reduced that to only 3. What are those 3 industries which are for the public sector? Arms and ammunition, atomic energy and rail transport. Arms and ammunition, atomic energy and rail transport. These are the 3 industries which are reserved for public sector. Remember what is public sector role diluted? In 1956, 17 industries were reserved for public sector, but in 1991, they reduced that 17 industries to 3. Now, only 3 industries are reserved for public sector. What are those 3 industries here? Arms and ammunition, atomic energy and rail transport. So this is one measure, this is one feature of our 1991 policy. Only these many points you explain, that is more than enough. Then next one we have MRTP Act 1969. What is MRTP Act? Monopoly Restrictive Trade Practices Act. So this Monopoly Restrictive Trade Practices Act, Monopolies Restrictive Trade Practices Act, which was introduced in the year 1969 to put a restriction on the monopoly. Now, these restrictions have been removed. Okay. So, what are the limits that were there in MRTP Act that was removed? The industrial policy states that government will undertake the review of existing public enterprises in low technology, small scale and non-strategic area. SIC units will be referred to Board for Industrial and Financial Reconstruction, and they will advise about the rehabilitation. So the act is removing this act in 91 policy. It is removing the limits on industries which were introduced in 1969 through MRTP Act. Okay. So this way, Monopoly Restrictive Trade Practices Act 1961, whatever the threshold limits were there on the industries, those were removed. Now, whatever the SIC units or any industry which is following the low technology, they will be referred to the Board for Financial Reconstruction, and these public sector undertakings as well as small scale units will be referred for this board for rehabilitation and reconstruction. Okay, so that means monopolies, whoever the monopolies are there in the country, they will be supporting the SIC and the small scale industries. That is MRTP Act. Another feature of 91 policy, pre-entry of foreign investment and technology. So through 1991 policy, there is a free entry. The government is promoting the flow of foreign direct investments for better technology, modernization, and increasing the exports, and to provide the goods and services of international standards. That means FDIs are allowed in the country. FDIs are allowed. For what FDIs are allowed in the country? For better technology, modernization, and providing goods and services at international standards. For this, we need investments. So when we want to improve the quality of the product, when we want to use modern technology in our industry, we need more investments. So those investments are allowed from the foreign investors. So this facility, also introduced in our 1991 policy. And another feature is liberalized industrial location policy. Liberalized industrial location policy. Liberalized industrial location policy. This 91 policy provides that locations other than 1 million population, there is no requirement for obtaining industrial approvals from the center. Okay. So here no approval is required. No approval is required for industries in selection of the location other than the place over 1 million population. So, other than the place where there is a 1 million population, their industries cannot be set up. Other than that areas, in any area, they need not require any permission from the center. So that facility is also provided by the government under this industrial policy. And if you see, the other feature of 91 policy is, last feature, that is removal of mandatory convertible clause. Removal of mandatory convertible clause. So, before 91, in industries, whenever the industrialists are taking loans from the banks, the loans are converted into equity. Okay, see, what is convertible clause? Convertible clause means loans are converted into equity. Loan which we take it from the bank, that if we are unable to repay the loan, that is converted into equity. Equity means what? Ownership rights in the industries. So most of the banks are taking the equity from the industries. So through 1991 policy, this convertible clause has been removed. So the loans will be, the financial institution will not impose this mandatory convertible clause. Okay, so that removal is done in 1991 policy. See what they have done in 91 policy, the abolition of industrial licensing. To set up the industry, license is not compulsory, except 6 industries require license, which are for the safety and security of the country. Public sector role diluted. Public sector role diluted in 1956. 17 industries were reserved for public sector. Now, only 3 industries are reserved for public sector. That is arms and ammunition, atomic energy, and rail transport. Next, MRTP Act 1969. The act was introduced in 1969, where there were limits on monopoly. Monopoly means what? One industry which is having the monopoly power. Okay, so they have removed the threshold limits on these industries, whoever monopolies are there. Instead, these monopolies have to take care about the sick units, as well as they should support the small industries in the country. Okay, so that way MRTP Act has been removed over here. And free entry of foreign investment and technology. Generally, when we want to maintain the standards of international competitiveness for good quality products, industry should have modern technology, more investments are required. So, FDIs are allowed in the country for better technology, modernization, providing goods and services at international standards. And another feature of 91 policy, liberalized industrial location policy. So, no approval is required for the industry if they are from the center, if they are setting up their location in any area other than where the population is more than 1 million. So, if the population is more than 1 million, then they need to take the permission. Other than that, they need not take the permission. Okay, and removal of mandatory convertible clause. Removal of mandatory convertible clause means here the convertible clause which was there in the country, that is loans are converted into equity. This convertible clause has been removed with 1991 policy. Okay, so see here, what are the policy, what are the features of 91 policy? Abolition of industrial licensing, public sector role diluted, MRTP Act 1969, free entry of foreign investment and technology, liberalized industrial location policy, and removal of mandatory convertible clause. You have to remember these side headings and you have to explain the points in that. Okay, so you have seen these 91 policy features. When you write this answer for your LAQ, first give the introduction. Industrial Policy Resolution was introduced in 1991, right? To meet the requirements of liberalized economy and foreign investments. So in 90, with the objectives, this policy was introduced in the country with the objectives of build on gains already made, correct the distortions or weaknesses in the industry, maintain sustained growth in production and gainful employment, attain international competitiveness. With these objectives, 91 policy was introduced in the country, and the features of 91 policy are abolition of industrial licensing, public sector role diluted, MRTP Act 1969, free entry of foreign investment and technology, liberalized industrial location policy, and removal of mandatory convertible clause. So with this liberalization, privatization, and globalization policy, which was introduced in 1991, we call in short form as LPG model of development. That means liberalization, privatization, and globalization process of development. These are called as new economic reforms in the country. So with this 91 policy, what advantages we had in our country, what drawbacks we have. So now let us see what is the negative impact we have. So negative impact and positive impact we will study in this 91 policy. So what is the positive impact of this 91 policy? As more and more industries are setting up, private sectors are given freedom. Okay, so here we can say the positive impact is creativity and innovation has given more importance. Creativity and innovation has become the order of the day. Knowledge is updated and industry started concentrating on research and development to create new ideas, to create new products which are suitable for the international market. Okay, so creativity and innovations have existed, have increased, and another positive impact is that quality is maintained. Quality aspect has importance of quality aspect. Importance of quality means with 91 policy, most of the manufacturers have started focusing on quality aspect of the commodity. Why? Because now we are introducing foreign investments. Our products is going to the global market. Foreign technology we are using. When we have all these advantages, quality improvement is also important. So most of the industries focused on improvement of the quality. And with this, there is an extensive growth of infrastructure in the country. Extensive growth of infrastructure. What infrastructure? Such as transport, banking, communication, etc. So these infrastructure have been increased in the country because many private industries are setting up, many foreign investors are coming, foreign investments we are taking, foreign technology we are taking. So with that, there is a growth in the infrastructure. Also, there is a free flow of foreign capital. Free flow of foreign capital. As we have seen, as India a developing economy, there is a capital deficiency. For industries, we require capital, but because of low income, low invest savings and low investments are there. So now with this 91 policy, there is a free flow of foreign capital without any restrictions. Means when foreign investors are investing in our country through FDI, there are no restrictions. So the problem of capital deficiency in industrial sector is reduced, and people are getting employment opportunities in MNCs. So our country people are getting the employment opportunities in MNCs, multinational companies. And this 91 policy has increased the standard of living of the people. Standard of living of the people, because most of the people have got employment opportunities as private sectors are increasing, and most of the industries are focusing on quality aspect of the commodity. So many goods are available in the market, and these goods are used by the consumers to satisfy their needs. So when they get more number of goods and services, their standard of living will increase. Also, there is an implementation of better technology. Implementation of better technology. So here you can see the positive impact of this 1991 policy. When this policy was introduced in the country, the advantage we have is there is an importance for creativity and innovation. Many industries have focused on research and development. By conducting the research, they have developed the new technology where they created the new type of products where they can compete in the world market. And they have focused on quality aspect here. Most of the manufacturers have started producing the quality products, which is for the beneficial of the customers. And there is an extensive growth of infrastructure. Infrastructure such as transport, banking, communication have been expanded. And there is a free flow of foreign capital through FDI, through foreign direct investments. There is a free flow of capital without any restrictions. Employment opportunities in multinational companies have increased. And also this 91 policy increased the standard of living of the people, getting good quality products, getting new products available, and they are getting the products which are equal that we are getting in the international market. And also with 91 policy, there is an improvement in the better technology. Okay, so these are the positive impact of 91 policy. When there is a positive impact, there is also a negative impact. Drawbacks are there from this 91 policy. Most of the opposition parties, when in 91, when Congress government introduced this 91 policy, most of the opposition parties have opposed these reforms. Why? Because there is a negative impact, saying that there is a tough competition for domestic industries. Tough competition for domestic industries. Why? Because when foreign industries are doing business in the country, they use modern technology which cannot be used by the local industries, local domestic industries. So when foreign companies and foreign industries are coming, it may be a tough competition for our domestic industries. Also, this policy has faced opposition from trade unions. What are these trade unions? Trade unions are the employee unions. They faced opposition from trade union. Why? Because, see, when public sector role diluted, public sector undertakings are given in the hands of private sectors. So, public sector, as it is working for the service motive, most of the people thought that when they converted into private sector, they have the fear of losing jobs. Because in private sectors, they give importance for skill and knowledge. If the person is not skilled or his skill is not suitable for that job, there is a possibility of losing the job. With that fear, most of the trade unions have opposed this 1991 policy. So it has received opposition from trade unions and it created unemployment in the country. You can see on positive note, it created employment opportunity, but on the negative side, it created unemployment because most of the industries started using capital intensive technology. Capital intensive means what? Using the advanced technology for production instead of labor. Means instead of following the labor intensive, they used capital intensive. As the technology is introduced, most of the people will lose their jobs. So unemployment, it affected the unemployment and indiscriminate use of natural resources. Another negative impact is that indiscriminate use of natural resources by MNCs. So no discrimination here. Same, our domestic country resources are utilized by MNCs. So when multinational companies are using our resources, so our country industries may not be able to utilize the resources. So there is a possibility of completely our resources will get exhausted over here. So that is one problem we have from this 1991 policy. Also, there is a distortions in production structure. Distortions in production means disturbances in our production structure. As we use more and more advanced technology or the modern technology, output may increase. When the output increases, demand should be there according to the supply, right? And it may not be equal to that of domestic industries. Foreign industries may do more production because of technology. Domestic industries may do less because of low technology. So these all disturbances are there in the production structure. Okay, so these are the negative impact of this 91 policy. So when you get this 1991 policy for your 10 marks, you have to write this positive and negative impact also. Objectives, features, positive and negative impact. Okay, so just see here, what are the negative impact? Tough competition for our domestic industries because most foreign industries also started working in our country. Private sectors have started working with huge investments. These all may create competition to the domestic industries. Opposition from trade unions. As it is opposed by trade union because of fear of losing jobs. When public sector is going into the hands of private sectors, people have the fear that they may lose the jobs. As private sectors are profit oriented, and it created unemployment also because most of the industries, by using the technology, they started following capital intensive technology. When instead of labor, technology is used, it creates unemployment. And indiscriminate use of natural resources of domestic country by MNC. Our resources are used by multinational companies, but the profits are taken by that country only. They are not given to our country. Our resources are going out of our hands. And disturbances in our production structure, more than demand, supply is done, no value for the products, like all disturbances are there in the production structure. So these are the positive and negative impact of 1991 policy. So when you explain this policy, compulsory you have to explain first the objective. Just you write down these 4 points for objectives. No need to explain them. Just build on gains already made, correct the distortions or weakness in the industrial sector, maintain sustained growth in production and gainful employment, and attain international competitiveness. So these 4 objectives you write down, no need to explain them. Just as a points you can write. These features you can explain in 2 to 3 lines. Okay, like abolition of industrial licensing. Here, license is removed for all the industries to liberalize the economy, where now only 6 industries for which license are compulsory. They are alcohol, cigarette, hazardous chemicals, drugs and pharmaceuticals, electronics, aerospace and defense equipment, and industrial explosive. Just you write down that point. Means with this new industrial policy, license is not compulsory for all the industries. Only 6 industries require license. They are, just give that name. Next, public sector role diluted. In 1956, 17 industries were reserved for public sector, but now it has reduced to 3. Only arms and ammunition, atomic energy, and rail transport are reserved for public sector. Next, MRTP Act. This act was introduced to remove the limits of assets in respect of MRTP companies. The new industrial policy states that these whatever the monopolies are there, instead of removing the limits on their assets, they will help for supporting the small scale industries and the sick units by referring them to Board for Financial Reconstruction. Means monopolies, whoever the monopolies are there, the limit was there on monopoly. These limits were removed now, and monopolies are supporting sick units which are in public sector undertakings with low technology, less output and all. And also the small scale industries are supported by the monopolies. Free entry of foreign investment and technology. Through this 91 policy, government introduced the free flow of or increased the flow of foreign direct investment. Why do we need investments? We require foreign investments for better technology, modernization, providing goods and services at international standards. And another feature, liberalized industrial location policy. The new industrial policy provides the location can be selected in any area other than 1 million population, where more than 1 million population are there, except in those regions. Remaining all other regions, they need not take permissions to set up the industry. Okay. And removal of mandatory convertible clause. Before 91 policy, loans are converted into equity, right? That means credit, whatever the credit you are taking as a loan, that is converted into ownership right. With 91 policy, this mandatory convertible clause has been removed. Now, whatever the loans are taken by the industries, they have to repay in the form of loans only. They are not converted into equity. So that is a removal of mandatory convertible clause here. And we can say this new policy is more market friendly and aims at making the best use of available entrepreneurial talent for industrial development. So the critical analysis were done. So these are the features of 91 policy. So for this 91 policy, we have a positive and negative impact also. The advantages what India experienced from this 91 policy is creativity and innovation. Industries have started conducting research and development. Most of the industries are trying to develop and create new products and services to survive in the market. And most of the manufacturing units have given importance for the quality aspect. They focused on quality of the commodity. There is an extensive growth of infrastructure, means in the country, as we have seen, the problem in India is inadequate infrastructure. There, the infrastructure development is taken place after 91 policy, because foreign investors are, means more and more private sectors are developing and more industries are set up in the country. As there are more and more industries, they require infrastructure. So there is an extensive growth of infrastructure in the field of transport, banking, communication and all. And there is a free flow of foreign capital without any restrictions, without anything. There is a free flow of increased flow of foreign capital in the country. Almost in most of the industries, 100% FDIs are allowed. Employment opportunities in multinational companies have increased. People who are skilled and efficient are getting employment opportunities in the multinational company, and increased the standard of living of the people. Implementation of better technology. You can write positive impact as it is, points you can write. No need to explain them. Only features you have to explain. Objectives, positive impact and negative impact, no need to explain. Just write down the points. That's it. And negative impact, tough competition for domestic industries, opposition from trade unions, unemployment, indiscriminate use of natural resources by MNC, distortions in the production structure. So this is the critical analysis of 1991 policy. So when you get this question, they will ask this question as critically explain the 1991 policy. Critically, when they say criticism also we have to write. That is positive and negative impact of this 91 policy. So just go through this policy once, the features, objectives, features, and positive and negative impact. So when you're presenting this answer, you have to write introduction, objectives, features, positive and negative impact. Okay, so this is your first LAQ from this chapter, which is more important question. So today this is enough for you. Just prepare this question for today, right? As it is compulsory question for LAQ. Tomorrow we will discuss one more LAQ, that is small scale industries. Okay, so thank you.